We've rehearsed our group or our solo to death. We're good at doing that, and things sound pretty darn good. So how many times have we rehearsed each piece from a cold start? Like not having played or worked on that piece right before. Little to none, right? When are we most anxious on stage? Right before we start, right? What if that were super strong? If repping the beginning of each piece was what this video is about, you could stop watching here. Don't stop watching here. Or here. This is one of numerous things that will help make our stage fright a non-factor, and yes, that can be done. If you'd like to truly understand what is going on with stage fright, I wrote a small manual on that. Have you noticed that nobody has really figured it out yet, and that the solutions offered help a little, not at all, or need to be constantly revisited? As usual, the answers are in cognitive science, and I've written about it in an entirely new way. I've included the link below, and there it is right there. What if there were a unique way that fits into the cognitive architecture of learning that can take care of starting pieces easily? There's actually something kind of crazy that has good research behind it and produces undeniable results. You'll see, so don't stop watching here. The way most of us practice involves something called blocked practice. Drill and kill, keep working on the same thing doggedly, and we do see some results. Have we ever noticed how what we're able to do after a bunch of reps or practicing is not nearly as good as when we get back to it the next day? Guess what? Our performance will be on a next day. More importantly, it never gets past a certain point of just not entirely ready for comfortable performance, does it? And what about the dreaded plateau we hit when we keep doing blocked practice and progress grinds to a halt? Glad you asked, as contextual interference, spacing, retrieval practice should provide you months of improvement. And here's a little hint, there are much better methods than blocked practice, such as interleaving. But this video isn't about that, so why did you ask? Anyway, good thing you did, because we're going to use spacing, a type of retrieval practice. Here's the deal. When we practice something in blocked fashion, we're relying on information that is fresh in our memory. Armed with this recent information, we can make adjustments, and this is great during the very early stages of learning. As we all know, memory decays with time. The longer between when we've learned or done something to when we try to do it again, the harder it is to recall it accurately. Once we get something down, we then need to learn it without a recent cue to inform us, because that's how it happens when we perform it. That is known as contextual performance. And one reason we're more comfortable in our practice space than in concert is that we rarely practice out of context, and playing through all the pieces once a day is not nearly enough. To strengthen contextual performance, we break down the tasks and strengthen the path to the information that is stored in long-term memory. And guess how we do that? Right. Repetition, but a weird kind of reps called spaced repetition or spacing. Spacing involves putting a period of forgetting in between reps, letting the memory decay, then attempting to retrieve that information. Even if we don't retrieve it correctly, something called the testing effect has shown that future retrievals will get better with no additional study. It's like free learning. In other words, difficulty in retrieval makes subsequent retrievals stronger and faster. Kind of like lifting memory weights. Feel the blurn. So, how do we use this to create confident performance? The ultimate cold start is the beginning of a piece. Do this. In the week or so leading up to a performance, rep the first measure or measures. Phrase, period, chords, lyrics, whatever. Much slower than we would do in performance. Just the beginning of the thing. We're working on strengthening access to long-term memory, so we just need to go through the physical motions. Playing slowly this way will actually lead to much faster playing without ever actually trying to play it that fast. Then put a space in between that and the next rep. Make it at least 5 minutes. 7 to 10 works too. Keep working on whatever we're doing in directing our group rehearsal or personal practice. And every 5 to 10 minutes, stop what we're doing and run those sections once each, slowly. It's worth addressing the speed monster here. Everyone I've worked with and myself has to deal with this monster. When I give master classes and ask someone to slow down and play something accurately, they say, okay, and then go, same speed. No, slow it down. Same speed. No, slow it down. Same speed. And they will not slow it down because we think we're slowing down when we're not. So what you have to do is start super slow. In all likelihood, we will do this when trying spacing. How slow would we play if our life depended on it and we only had one shot to play it perfectly? Now, play it a little slower than that. Using a metronome to remind us how slow we should play right before we play something in spacing can be very helpful. If we play too fast, it makes spacing less effective, so please be careful about this. If we've already learned the thing and are now spacing it, don't be alarmed if they don't sound good. That is the sound of weakness leaving the performance that would otherwise show up on performance night. Sure, we might be able to cover and keep it together so the audience can't tell, but will make us more and more uncomfortable on stage. What do you think a few super confident starts might do for us or the group we're rehearsing? This seeming diminishment of skill is the process we want to participate in and will feel discouraging. It will work, but it will take several days, and once we experience it, we will have the confidence to experiment and apply these ideas in many other ways. This is just one of many things that work so very differently in skill development than about nearly all people, including students and teachers, think. The remaining very few are the ones who seem really talented, right? Learning techniques like these are like a talent store. Have all you want. By the way, for more on contextual interference and amazing stuff for skill development, read the book Make It Stick. And also the work of Robert and Elizabeth Bjork at their Forgetting Lab at UCLA. And the things I've talked about here are just the tip of the iceberg. Too much good stuff. I'm Greg Goodhart, the Learning Coach, and you've got all the talent you need. So, why don't you enjoy it by getting to work? You can stop watching here.